ragadoo, lamentricaboo, la bibbidi bobbidi boo. Put them together, and what have you got? Bibbidi bobbidi boo.
Oh, man, magic takes a lot out of you, huh, Mickey? But I mean, it's really all worth it in the end. I mean, in the world, magic is what vanquishes darkness and brings true love together. Fairy Godmother does a great job of using her magic for Cinderella by putting her in position to find her true love. There's just one problem with her magic.
On the stroke of 12, the spell will be broken, and everything will be as it was before.
Sure enough, at midnight, the carriage turned into a pumpkin, the horses transformed into mice, and Cinderella's dress returned to rags. Except there was one item that remained after midnight: the glass slippers. Hello, I'm Isaac from Watso Videos, where we discuss fun topics for fun people, and today I'm going to theorize on why Cinderella's glass slippers didn't disappear. If you are unfamiliar with Cinderella or just haven't seen it in a while, here's a quick recap. After losing both of her parents, Cinderella is ruled over and abused by her stepfamily. Cinderella stayed strong after many hard years until her stepsisters ruined her chances of attending the prince's royal ball. In Cinderella's darkest moment, the fairy godmother reveals herself to the poor girl and uses her magic to transform her into a gorgeous princess. If you're interested in checking out all of Cinderella's appearances, I have provided all of the links to her movies and the resources I used in today's video in the description. But Fairy Godmother, if you have all of this magic, why did you revert Cinderella's items back to their original form, except the magic slippers? Was your magic only powerful enough to keep the slippers around? I mean, I'm pretty sure Maleficent could have let Cinderella keep her dress a little longer.
Still doing tricks with eggplants? I turned a pumpkin into beautiful carrots.
You really couldn't give Cinderella till 1 a.m. I mean, really? What, the hamsters have to be back on their little wheels?
Don't talk back to me, boy. I'm more powerful than you can imagine. Don't you remember Cinderella 3? Yeah, Fairy Godmother, you're totally right. In Cinderella 3, A Twist in Time, we glimpsed at the true power of the Fairy Godmother. In this story, Anastasia steals Fairy Godmother's wand, and Lady Tremaine uses its power to steal Cinderella's happy ending by going back in time. In addition to traversing time like Marty McFly, Lady Tremaine manipulates the memories and perception of the prince and transforms Lucifer into a dark henchman. Not only does the Fairy Godmother prove she has magic far more powerful than what we originally saw in Cinderella's trilogy, but I also think it's worth to mention in other iterations of the character, her magic is thought of as some of the most powerful. Like in Once Upon a Time, Rumpelstiltskin pours the power of fairy dust into the wand to create powerful enchantments, and in Descendants, Fairy Godmother's wand is what entraps Disney's greatest villains into the Isle of the Lost. The point of all this is, the Fairy Godmother had a ton of magic in Cinderella, and this is supported further by how she is remembered in other versions of the character. This all indicates the Godmother was not restrained by her magic. She made a choice to have Cinderella's clothes and luxuries disappear at midnight and have her glass slippers remain. Now that we know the Fairy Godmother chose to give Cinderella her glass slippers, now I am wondering when she decided to give them to her. Did she set Cinderella's slippers to disappear originally and realize later that they could be used to help Cinderella be with her prince? Or did she always want Cinderella to keep the glass slippers? I think the Fairy Godmother knew those glass slippers would need to stay with Cinderella. Like if we look at the 2015 version of Cinderella. In this version, the Fairy Godmother fabricates the glass slippers separately from her carriage and wardrobe after Cinderella removes her shoes, meaning the slippers are created from pure magic instead of forming from another object. This Fairy Godmother even states she could make something new.
Let's have something new for a change. I'm rather good at shoes.
Furthermore, the Fairy Godmother explains,
At the last stroke of midnight, the spell will be broken, and all will return to what it was before.
But if the shoes couldn't have anything to return to, then that would explain why the spell didn't affect them. The fairy godmother made the choice to manifest the shoes through magic so they would remain after midnight struck. And the idea the glass slippers were created using magic is supported in the animated film as well. Whenever the glass slippers are shown, they are constant, sparkling, and are surrounded by shimmers, very similarly to the glowing lights that originally created the fairy godmother, indicating the slippers were embedded with magic. Also, having these shoes be derived with magic also solves another issue with Cinderella that the Grand Duke points out.
This slipper may fit any number of girls. That's his problem.
Maybe the shoe changed its size or shape when others attempted to put it on to ensure Cinderella's foot could be the only one that fit. I mean, the only time anyone else was able to put it on was when magic was used to make it fit on Anastasia's foot in Cinderella 3. And if they could fluctuate size, then that's how Cinderella lost her shoe at the ball, even though every other time they are a perfect fit. The fairy godmother had them change size so Cinderella would lose one. Could you imagine losing your shoe all the time?
Oh, darn it! How does this keep happening to me? This is absolutely ridiculous.
It would be dreadfully inconvenient, and for Cinderella, that happens to her a lot. Let's hope now that Cinderella is royal that she can get shoes that fit. Okay, back to the theory. The slippers were chosen to be made out of magic, so they would remain in the world after midnight struck. But why did Cinderella's fairy godmother do this? This all stems back throughout all of the known versions of Cinderella, even to the first known iteration in the ancient Greek story of Rodolphus, which dates back to 7 BC. In each tale, a core idea that persists is the concept of a man finding a woman's shoe,
Captain, my horse,
and discovering the woman who owns that shoe is destined to be his wife. The fairy godmother knew the prince needed to find the shoe to realize he was in love with Cinderella. I mean, the prince seemed so unenthused at his own ball.
The boy isn't cooperating.
Until he meets Cinderella, and by her running out on him, he discovers he would need to fight for her, while every other maiden would bend over backwards for him.
Well, oh, the prince. I haven't met the prince.
The prince? But didn't you know that...
What I'm saying is Cinderella established herself as different by running out at midnight. In addition, if Cinderella would have stayed the whole night and had to return home by herself, she would have likely had her gown, carriage, and slippers destroyed like her original dress, and she would have just ended up in the same place she had begun. Cinderella had lived too long under Lady Tremain's rule. She needed someone to take her out of there. The fairy godmother easily had the power to give Cinderella her gown and carriage for the rest of her life. But she was a wiser lady than that. She didn't want to give Cinderella a night of happiness. She wanted to ensure Cinderella had a life of happiness after she left. To ensure Cinderella stuck out from the crowd and forced the prince to realize he needed Cinderella in his life, the perfectly fitting magic glass slipper slipped right off so that the prince would understand he had to find and love the girl he had met at the ball. Fairy godmother made Cinderella lose that glass slipper so she could have her happy ending. Thank you so much for watching the video, everyone. I just wanted to say to all the people who support me by watching every video, liking, commenting, tweeting at me, thank you. You all seriously mean the world to me. And I felt like I hadn't been saying it enough that I really appreciate you guys sticking around. Disney is awesome, of course, but it wouldn't be as fun if there wasn't an audience supporting me like you all do. So now it's time for the question of the day, sponsored by some of my biggest fans, my patrons. What do you want to be called? Like, I feel like the Watso audience deserves a really cool name. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section, along with any other ideas you have for future Discovering Disney episodes. I'm really excited to see what ideas you guys are going to come up with. If you enjoyed this video, then click that like button. If you like to stay up to date with new magical videos, then click that subscribe button and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And to see more Watso videos, then check out some awesome pics over there. As always, thanks for watching and have a magical day.